So thank you everyone for selecting and being here. So after long discussion we had, because I'm involved in quite a broad range of topics, and I've been with RBI for more than 15 years in a multinational banking group, so I will continue. So who am I? My name is Fisnik Bocolli. I'm an enterprise architect focused on data, but at the same time I act as a product owner for event streaming platform. Part of enterprise architecture management. So Raiffeisen, most of you maybe have heard about Raiffeisen. So Raiffeisen is a banking group with head office in Vienna, Austria, focused mainly on corporate and investment banking. However, through the network units, it's available also in 12 additional markets. Roughly 17 million customers that are served and more than 44,000 employees. So what I will be talking today, it's more about what are the characteristics of modern data architecture. We have tried a lot, we have failed a lot. So some of the lessons learned, something that we have learned the hard way, that we came up to building a data hub for the RBI group. So I will go through some of the key terms, and at the end we'll spend some time into the current blueprint architecture. So the first and utmost important is data-driven organization. I think this is a buzzword mentioned in every C-level discussion. What does it mean becoming a data-driven organization? So being a data-driven organization means culturally, and I would ask you to focus on the culturally. So initially it's a cultural change more than a technological one, to treat the data as a strategic asset and build capabilities to put this data into use, not only for the big decision on C-level, but also for everyday use. And here are the three areas that we would need to tackle in order to become a data-driven organization. It starts with the culture. It starts with the people. This is the most important. We need to change the culture. We need to empower and motivate people. And this is the first thing in order to go into this direction. The second one is, which in my experience is one of the most important, is organizational structure. Banks are complex. Majority of the complexity in the banks is based on the organizational structure. It's not the technological issues. I think we have good engineers, we have very mature technologies out there that we can solve majority of today's problem. But the biggest problems are created by the organization, are created by silos, are created by, let's say, everyone taking care about only their part of the business. And last but not least, of course, technology plays a key role. We don't start greenfield. Greenfield is easy, and I think most of us are not in that lucky position to start greenfield. So we have to start where we are. We have a lot of solutions, we have a lot of data, we have current technology, and we would need to transform into the target. I would start with the key term, data liquidity, that I like it very much. It is not well known, but I hope that in the future we will be measured somehow. How liquid are your data? How liquid is your domain? How liquid is your system? So data liquidity is the ability to get the data from the point of its creation, really when the data are entered into the master systems, up to liquidating all the systems that are relevant and needs this data to further process. I would say the key takeaway from my experience is first we start with data democratization. So what does it mean, data democratization? That everyone in the company shall speak data. Data literacy is the most important. We said we talk about people. We need to increase the literacy of the data of the people. People need to start to speak data. Everyone shall have access to the data, and we need to unlock data from the engines. All of you are aware, we have oracles, we have DB2s, we have different engines. This is like ransomware. So our data are locked, and in order to access this data, we would need to channel to access through this management system. And today, data is meant for technicians. So I have my IT department, I have my BI department doing the reporting, and this we should change. How do we change? We need to make it easy accessible and increase the literacy so everyone can speak data. Everyone can use the data for small and big decisions. These are some of the benefits, among others. If we democratize the data, what is the outcome? We empower the people. The decision-making process is much easier, and which leads to better decisions. Return on investment is higher. At the end, the ultimate goal is customer insight and customer experience is significantly increased because we are acting based on data, not based on a gut feeling and based on individual opinions. The second one is self-service and agility. I put them together, I think they go together. So self-service for me is independence. Every organization is going through some time of transformation. If you call it agile, if you call it adaptive, if you call it Scrum, I think they share a lot of things in common. We talk about independence. We talk about end-to-end responsibility. We talk about adapting to changes of the business requirements. So no one wants to be dependent on someone else. We talk about predictability. You can predict only when you have everything under control, when you have self-empowered team with all the skill set. Is it easy? No, it is not. Is it going to be cheaper? Unfortunately not. But this comes, so today's organizations are becoming more complex and more expensive with the outcome that we need to increase agility, we need to increase time to market, have more frequent releases, have a shorter feedback loops, and incorporate into the product. Next one is scalability and speed. So when I talk about speed and scalability, these might sound very technical terms, but what I mean about scalability and speed is, of course, technology. We need to have to be able to scale. We need to be able to have also the speed and performance, but it also means about the people in the organization. So we need to scale. We need to scale how we are delivering. Times are gone when we have centralized team and everyone is filing change requests in their backlog. So we need to have end-to-end responsibility within the team. So they need all the ingredients they need to have in order to deliver, so we can scale and implement in the business delivery in the business delivery teams. So we need to have shortened time to market and bottleneck. Currently, if you think on the data area, we have data warehouses. They were built for good reasons and they are still relevant today. However, I think with the current speed and demand, we are not able to cope with the changes. So data warehouse typically are very huge, complex systems and organizations, and serving the whole enterprise by one centralized team, by design, this we need to change. Prototyping and culture of failure. So in order to reach scalability and speed, we also need to foster in the company a culture of failure, a culture of prototyping. So try fast, fail fast, so we are able to have shorter feedback and release cycles. One of the key elements from what we have seen out in the field, it's real-time data replication. It sounds very technical, and we may say data replication has been there since forever. But what do we mean by data replication? So data replication we see as a crucial, as one of the key components in order to make huge progress towards openness and reuse. So in a typical bank, we as RBI, we have in the whole group roughly 3,000 applications. And offloading, having access to these data from 3,000 applications is more or less impossible. What we were doing until now, it's always point-to-point integration. So for every project, for every application, we were going to the source and getting the data. So we were thinking only for ourselves. And now that the demand for data is getting higher and higher, and now we don't talk about end of month, end of week, or end of day data, we talk about real time. One of the crucial elements and components and capabilities we see is data replication, offloading the data from the primary systems. So we offload one-to-one, no changes, no change of the structure, so we make them available for any use case. So what is the benefit here also from the banking? Banking has a lot of processes, has a lot. In average, we calculated roughly the customer and product data are copied between 20 and 30 times. So we have 20 or 30 types, 20 to 30 copy of the same data that we are using for individual purpose. Some years back, we were thinking storage is cheap, so why not copy? It's cheap, let's have it there. Let's have first copy, second copy, and third copy. But as the time passes by, we are a bank and we are regulated. So we need to take care about security. We need to take care about data protection. We need to take care about consistency. To have single source of truth, the two reports, one sent to the local national bank and one sent to the European Central Bank, at the end are matching. How do we ensure it if everyone is going to the source and getting their data with our own preferred channel, with own preferred tools, with own preferred transformation and filtering? So what we want to enable is that to reduce the complexity, and we will see in the data hub what does it mean in practice. We want to get rid of this complexity from getting the data from 3,000 applications having them replicated in real time so we have a solid ground that we can process them further. Next topic, which is very important, is data platform and automation. In the background, I tried to find a picture. This is from Volkswagen. So Volkswagen is making all these cars you see, 6 cars, they are part of the same platform. This is not a new concept, but unfortunately, we were not adopting these practices that the other industries have learned by experience. So what Volkswagen did, they made a platform that all these cars share the same platform. Each of them can customize, each of them can make their own design, their own look and feel, their own specifics, but they share the same platform, which means there might be some constraint also. With every decision, you're also giving up something. And here we may be giving up that we have certain requirements that we would need to fulfill, some kind of a frame. But on the other hand, when we look interoperability, if we look on how the parts can be reused and reused from one to another, how we can scale that we can have a dedicated team working in different specifics. And I think this is something that we are missing. We were always thinking big bang, left to right, individual approach, and this unfortunately does not scale. So what does data platform? One of the key words in thinking in data platform is reusable technologies. So we would be setting the foundation. We are setting the basic components that everyone is able to reuse. So if you have specifics, then the teams are not taking care about technicalities, that every team has the skills to work with a certain technology, to extract the data, to refine, to look about the quality, but they would focus on where the value is created. So to connect to the overall theme of the conference, value, unfortunately, sometimes it's very difficult to show the value for when you're working on the platform, when you're working on the middleware, when you're working on the technology. But having some kind of basic understanding and setting some principles and setting the stage will very much help the delivery teams that we said we want to scale, that every business team, now with agile transformation, we have end-to-end delivery. So they are responsible for delivering a specific business capability. Using a platform and not taking care about technicalities, we believe that this enables us to scale and move forward. So all the stuff like storage, preparation of data, transformation, data governance, security, everything can be reused. On the other hand, we eliminate data silos. So if everyone is thinking only about their domain, only about their products, then we lead to inconsistencies, but at the same time, a lot of redundant processes that we are introducing. And automation, I think a lot was said. But there is a huge potential if we think in this data platform that we have a lot of cool technologies and tools out there, best practices that we are able to leverage. And so if we take data ops, for example, so testing, CI/CD, orchestration, now observability is getting more and more attention. We talk about quality, schema, lineage, freshness of data, data volume. So all of these can be reused out of the box. So thinking in platform, having a data platform, that you connect to the primary source. You offload all the data by replicating them, making them available, taking care of security, taking care of all the automation, and then enabling the business that they would deliver their own specifics. This is what we believe will bring us forward. Open source and cloud technology. I think this is also a very important aspect. We as a bank, we operate in Central Eastern Europe, so we have countries who are in EU, outside of EU, countries who are willing to go to the cloud, but also countries who have restrictions to go to the cloud. So this was the biggest challenge, is where to balance, how to design data hub, how to design platform which is able to be deployed to the cloud, but also in premise, how we can have such a generic approach. I remember some years back when I had my first meeting with a CEO. This was more than roughly 15 years ago. One of the key statements on his speech was, we are smart followers. So we let the others do, and then once we see something is important, interesting, we would adopt it. I think these times are gone. I think also the banks are seeing that leveraging open source, but not only leveraging selfish view to just adopt the technology, but being part of these communities. We have colleagues who have, 20% of their time allocated to work on open source projects. And 5 years ago, this would have been unimaginable that a bank is contributing to open source community. I think now we need to look really cool tools out there. Also, cloud technology enables us not to innovate, but also to have state-of-the-art technology for prototyping, for trying things out until we see if there is a value in it. There is a very interesting technology radar. I don't know if you heard of. It's created by ThoughtWorks. There are many such similar radars. I would encourage you to have a look into it. So what they're doing, they're profiling all the open source technologies, and on a monthly basis, they are really showing what technologies you should adopt, which technology it's worth to try. So they do the market research so you can have really, let's say, prepared information and really structured with continuous updates on technology radar. And we take it as a base for what to innovate, where shall we put some money in order to invest, what problem is it solving. Security and data protection. Because of time, I will go a bit shorter. We need to design for security and data protection. In the past, we were doing something and data is very sensitive, and only after the fact, we were looking at the security and data protection. And this is really this is really the biggest enemy to time to market. So considering security and data protection as first-class citizen, by enabling automation, by reusing the platform, by sharing the tools, and you will see later on also how also data virtualization can help in this topic, I think we need to consider from day one. We go into MVPs, we make an MVP, and then suddenly it's critical, and then this is a solution for going live. We never consider resilience, security, data protection, and then we spend months into fulfilling the requirements from the regulators, because at the end we are a regulated bank. Data streaming event-driven architecture. This is a huge potential for the future. So we need to consider not only data in terms of analytics, but also operations. We want to make customer experience solutions. I think event-driven architecture and reactive architectures is the way forward to decouple. One of the key problems we have is coupling. Something is changed, everything falls apart. So in order that we have a decoupled architecture, that we are collaborating in an environment, I think event-driven architecture is the way to go. Last but not least is data virtualization. So what is a data virtualization? Data virtualization is a concept which is not new. It's roughly 10 years old, but in the last few years, and here you see a slide from Denodo, it's one of the platforms we are using for data virtualization. It has three key elements. It's connect, combine, and consume. So it allows us to connect to all the sources, 100 plus connectors, so we don't need to code and maintain all this technology, how we connect, how we extract the data, how we filter. We are able to combine, we are able to provide different views, we are able to have raw data to combine, to have combined view, but also to tackle the business side. And at the end, it allows us how we consume, how we publish the data, SQL access, publishing everything as a service, RESTful, GraphQL. At the same time, everything is cataloged, so you see exactly what kind of data assets are sitting where. These are some of the benefits of data virtualization that we see at RBI. I will go only through the titles. There's a lot of details. I hope the slides will be shared afterwards. So the key benefit is we should stop collecting the data, we should start connecting the data. So virtualization, instead of making a copy of a copy of a copy, it connects to the data source. And this is what we see Data Hub as a data source. And we start connecting the data, and the data stays where they are. Shared data infrastructure platform, we talked about data platform. Denodo and data virtualization can really get this bridge, which enable self-service, efficiency, also performance. We have some data in the cloud, some data on-premise, different data gravity. Data virtualization also is very keen on performance. So it has really advanced optimizers for each technology that it's able to rewrite your query in the most performant way based on the technology. So one of the biggest advantages is innovation and agility. You are fully independent, but in case you are reusing some data set, then you don't see where the data are. So none of the delivery teams need to know if the data are sitting in SQL Server, in the cloud, or premise, or is it a flat file behind. They should really focus on doing what brings business value. Metadata security and governance are crucial for the bank. And we believe by virtualizing the data, by having one access layer towards all the data assets in the company, we are able to have data quality control. We are able to assess security, put role-based access control, and also role-level granularity. And also we can ensure that the governance policies that we have in place are ensured, because all the assets are being channeled through this layer. Last but not least, change management. Change is very painful in big organizations. We said 3,000 applications. If you change something, do an upgrade, change of a vendor, go to the cloud. This is a huge effort just to come to the point zero where we started without any additional value. Having kind of amortization layer in between that enables us to change the system, to change the vendor, to go from cloud on-premise, virtualization really fills this gap by creating a facade. But also for the data science. We never managed, or at least in the bank, we were quite bad and failed multiple times to deliver successful data science projects. We were very good in prototyping. We checked what does it mean. It makes value, it brings value, but as soon as we wanted to operationalize, we were not able to, because the research and development part was completely decoupled. Having such a platform enables us to do R&D, but at the same time operationalize data science, because we rely on the data sources that we have. So this is just a statement that it took us 2 months as a bank because of bureaucracy, because of very complex organization, to open up firewalls and establish connection with one of the network units. And at the end, in 2 days, we are able to have a production-grade views, which we used on mission-critical business. This is our data hub. If you bear with me 2 more minutes. So everything we have said until now, somehow we tried to build into this diagram. So I will walk you how to read it in an easy manner. So on the left side, we have source systems, different kind of core banking system, packed applications, CRM, in-house built databases, external files, exchange rates, ratings from external agencies. On the right side, we have destination systems. We have BI reporting more on the people side. We have a lot of packed application, microservices, data lake and analytics, stream analytics, data warehouses. So how do we manage this middle part? It sounds easy. We have sources, we have time. In the past, everyone from these guys were going directly, having a copy of a copy. Everyone was doing something which was not visible or hardly reusable. We believe by having we believe that Data Hub is the answer, and we have 5 elements here that are important. The first one is change data capture. So this is data replication offloading. It's a log-based, so we don't want to interfere with operations on the primary sources. One-to-one copy we put into an event stream. So we made event streaming platform as a first-class citizen. So all the data, all the changes, because bank is by nature event-driven. You make a transaction, you make a payment, you go to an ATM, you fail the PIN, you want to withdraw money, there is no limit, so you don't have money, you could offer a loan. Everything is event-based. So we believe embracing the event-driven technology as a basis, so we put everything into event stream, and from here we would share. We have already built connectors, because interoperability is very important, that we have the same view. So we offload all the data into an event stream. Then we would feed Databricks we are using for advanced analytics, machine learning, AI. I think it's an interesting platform, lakehouse architecture. I would ask you to dig into that. And so we would have all the data in real time, also in analytics platform for BI reporting, analytics, machine learning models, fraud detection, and so on. At the same time, we are a bank. We have hundreds of database and data set. So the lower part is end-of-day view. End of day does not mean that we process once a day, but we would need at least to have a daily snapshot view. Because the regulators are asking, what was the balance at the end of the day? What is the credit limit? So here, we go with an open source, and from Oracles and DB tools, now we are going really with an open source, with a Postgre. And here, at the beginning, during transition, because I said we don't start greenfield, we start where we are. We would be allowing during transition period, some kind of replication using traditional ETL tools. But in the long run, it is foreseen that also the databases, also the data warehouses are really fed through an event stream. Last but not least, data virtualization. So if we need to combine different technology, different speed, different gravity, cloud and on-premise, we see data virtualization bridging the gap. How we consume the data, how we maintain to avoid maintaining different connectors and have an impact on the performance. We see that putting a data virtualization as an amortizing layer to the consumers will really enable us to have some kind of buffer zone, to have some kind of resilience, that whatever we change on the left will not affect the end user. And we believe that this is the answer to the problems we are having as an organization, that you're able to build your own data products, your own specific business initiatives on top of it, without caring too much about the details and complexity on the technical side. this was the story. I thought it's worth sharing with you. Thank you very much for your attention.